Well, I think the key, Andrew, is again, and Emily called me a racist. I'm not remotely a racist. I have no problem with targeted immigration, and I don't mind where those people come from as long as they bring with them skills that are going to contribute to our society and they respect what Britain is, what Britain historically has been.
How do you target
what
that?
we are now? I mean, so they have to respect us, and what we haven't got is integration. So a lot of these people who've come here in huge numbers are low skilled. They haven't integrated. They've been abusing the postal vote, which is something I think needs to be radically changed very quickly. And I don't think they respect our culture. In fact, I know they don't respect our culture. So for me, those people are not people we should be bringing in and damaging the fabric of our country. And today we had a petition which we started at 9:15 this morning to effectively restore Britain, which is my new political movement, which is designed to unify. With the help of my members, we actually had our first direct democracy vote on detaining and deporting illegal migrants, basically offshore. So they don't actually come here; they're processed offshore. And we need to find somewhere to do that. Lots of places. I think one thing that upset Emily was I suggested a Scottish or an English island where we put up a tented camp and we give them sufficient food until we've processed them or they've asked to go home. But settling them in hotels, so our petition started at 9:15. We had over 100,000 votes by 4 o'clock this afternoon, 4:45 this afternoon. So ultimately, I think as I came into your studio, I think we were hitting 109 or 110,000. So that was only started at 9:15 this morning. So that forces a debate in Westminster Hall. I asked for a debate in the House last Thursday where the leader of the House reluctantly said if I asked for it, I might get it, even if he thought that what I'd suggested was abhorrent. Well, I don't know about you, but why is it abhorrent to discuss something which is at the top of everybody's agenda? Which is arguably damaging our interests.
Yeah, what they get wrong is they think everything is sort of a Nazi thing in their minds, isn't it? And they forget that Jews actually tried to flee Germany and they brought them back in. What you're suggesting is the opposite. Don't come in. If I try and go off to some country that I don't have permission to live in, well, they're going to kick me out. I think that's quite a usual thing.
Britain, as you know, has always been a very tolerant nation. In fact, whereas Europe used to persecute the Huguenots and persecute the Jews, and on the whole, Britain allowed people to come here. The Huguenots made a huge contribution, as did a lot of Jewish people. They came here. They're very highly skilled. They're very intelligent. And they were welcome and they contributed. And I think a lot of them came to love the country more almost than some of the indigenous English who British who can sometimes take their country for granted.
Certainly the left.
But this current wave, I think, is incredibly damaging. And again, this is one of the things that the establishment has to admit they got wrong. And that's Blair, that's Cameron, particularly Boris.
Yeah.
A lot of that wasn't illegal. That was legal immigration.
Well, that's what I want to say, because people, I've started saying recently, I think that the illegal stop the boats and all that, I know it's a catchy phrase and it's very important. It is important. I don't want people to say
illegal means illegal, Andrew.
Yeah.
If you come here illegally,
then
if you or I break the law, what happens to us?
No, we go to prison. No, I agree with you. I still think, though, it's a slight distraction from the legal immigration, which is insane, the numbers.
Well, I think there are 3 or 4 things. The first thing is the illegal, what I call that they call them asylum seekers. They're actually not. They're economic migrants, okay?
Yeah.
So they should be dealt with, first of all. Those people living here illegally, of which there are a lot, need to be dealt with. The foreign criminals, which are about 10,500 in our prisons, need to be deported. Mm-hmm. And as I've always said, and again, this upset Emily, I said the families of the rape gang perpetrators who are not English nationals, they should be deported as well. So not just the perpetrator, but anyone who knew about it. These people should be handing over perpetrators of this kind of vileness. And so, and then we get to, so the first thing is deal with the illegals. And then you're quite right. There's been vast amounts of legal migration, but then you have to hold the Home Office to account for that, because the Home Office, their default position is to let people into the country. And you have to ask yourself why, because there are statistics proving that a lot of these low low-skilled people will end up being a cost to the British taxpayer. Now, question, what is our government elected to do? In my simplistic and probably unintelligent view of life, they're elected to represent the interests of the British voter, the British taxpayer, and British society. They're not elected to carry out sort of global welfare or indulge their passion for some sort of woke concept that they think they should be pursuing. No, they're servants of the people, and they should be serving the interests of people who have helped build this country up, whose families, whose forebears, everybody has played a part in making Britain what it is. And it's about time, we got a bit of backbone and we started to stand up. And I thought this weekend, I wasn't at the march, but I thought it was fantastic to see so many people in what was ultimately a very sort of friendly and non-violent demonstration of how deeply people feel about this. And yet the mainstream media sort of start to, again, attack it. They say nothing about the Notting Hill carnival, where you get people stabbed, you get people raped, you get all sorts of sort of violence going on. But no, these are a lot of them patriots, and they've had enough of what's happening. And I think woe betide those people in power who now continue to ignore what I call the bedrock of this country. And my constituency, by the way, on our petition, they were the true patriots. They led the charge. And curiously enough, Bridget Phillipson's constituency came a close second. Houghton and Sunderland South, I think it is. So, we can see it from the heat map of the voting. So I think you can't look at the metropolitan conurbations now. You can't really look at the Birminghams or the Londons or the Bristols. You were talking about Bristol earlier. I don't think they represent what I call the heartlands of England. And that's why I went to stand in Norfolk, where we've got real people who still care deeply about their local community and about their country, and they're patriots.
I want to ask you about Nigel Farage, but I just want to clarify as well for people, I do care about the Stop the Boats thing. It's just that it's like 30,000 people and we're letting in, with legal immigration, 1.2 million or something in a year.
We agree. Yeah. It's too many.
Yeah. So that's where the problem is.
It needs to be stopped completely.
It's easy to chant Stop the Boats, but it's very hard to stop letting in so many people legally as well, because it's ridiculous.
No, but it's two sides. That's one part of it. The other part of it is, look at the amount of people signing themselves off with mental health here. Look at the amount of people who are claiming Motability cars and payments for indolence. That has to be sorted out before we start saying we need to bring in more people. I mean, ultimately, I think government misguidedly thinks the more people they bring in, the higher the GDP. But the less skilled they are, the lower the GDP per capita, which is falling fast.
Yeah.
And as you can probably see, our economy is not growing. I think we're heading for a catastrophe on that front, because we've got what I call chalk jockeys in Rachel Reeves and a lot of the people making these decisions. They haven't got a clue. They've never run a business in their lives, and they just don't understand it. So despite the fact they think they can centrally plan a recovery, they won't, because what's happening is the key drivers of the economy are leaving. There is no reason at the moment to take risk. If you take risk and you win, because taxes are so high, they take it all off you. If you take risk and you lose, you still have to write the check for the investment you've made. And you have a lot of trouble from HMRC trying to get the appropriate tax breaks that you deserve. And there are all sorts of Osborne heffalump traps, which mean that if Andrew Gold or Rupert Lowe invest in something and it goes wrong, you can only offset a certain amount against this year, and then after that, it's all different. And it's not as if you invest, lose, and then offset against other income. You can get badly caught, and I've been caught on a number of occasions on what I think are just completely illogical, petty-minded rules that are designed to basically take money off decent, risk-taking entrepreneurs and pay it to an indolent state who is spunking our money up against the wall every day. That's where it's all wrong.
Can I ask you a favor? Please subscribe. 90% of you are not subscribed, so if you sub, it will help the channel, and I'll keep making these clips.